More Browns news, though. The biggest thing that fans want to know is, what will Steve Wilks' defense be like? That'll be the biggest question and could potentially be the biggest factor in how successful the Browns will be. How good will their defense be? Question of Steve Wilks is, how do you find leaders on defense?
It's always hard to say, when you try to identify certain leaders, you say, oh, Miles is a leader, Denzel's a leader, just because they're star players. Well, Jermaine-Whitehead is a leader in my opinion. So you don't have to be that quote-unquote guy that everybody looks at. So I want all those guys to be leaders when they're out there on the field, because we need everybody communicating and talking and being on the same page.
Why do you say that about Whitehead?
Extremely smart, very intelligent, takes control when he's out there. All right, know how to really communicate and articulate the defense and get everybody on the same page.
How would a guy who maybe hasn't had all that many opportunities in his career yet in Jermaine be able to go out and show that right now? Are you surprised at all that maybe he's showing?
Not surprised at all. He's been in the league for a while. He's been on several teams, so it just shows who he is as an individual. He puts a lot of time into his craft. He studies the game a lot, and it really shows out on the field.
It might be hard to see without the pads on, but with the addition of Olivier Vernon, how has Myles Garrett's game changed? Have you noticed a difference in not having as much pressure on him with somebody on the other side?
Not so much, and it's very hard to determine right now. As you just mentioned, we don't have pads on. I like the addition, with Sheldon as well. I think those two guys are going to be great for us. Their presence in the room, not only on the field, is definitely shown up thus far. Does it take some pressure off of Myles? Maybe it does. I don't know yet. We have to wait and see. But I know those guys are going to be a major factor, either making plays or allowing Myles to make plays.
Looking at the overall capability of your group and the talent that you have at your disposal to execute what you want done, how are you doing in terms of frontline talent and depth?
I think we're making progress. When you really look at where we were on April the 1st, all right, and how we started out just really with phase 1, phase 2, you have seen the development and growth of a lot of guys. Depth, we're always looking for depth. I think you saw that with the draft and the number of guys that we picked up. So that's always going to be important, because you're going to have injuries throughout the year, and that's why it's so important as a staff that we really develop those young guys.
What do you see who's taking a lead in that battle for strong safety?
Oh, it's still open. It's still too early to really determine that. Everybody's going to have an opportunity to be able to get in there and showcase their talent and perform. So right now, we're just really trying to lay a great foundation. All right, really the fundamentals and technique of the position. Those guys doing a good job of really picking up the system. So again, it's too early to determine who's going to be the starters.
What did you see out of Greedy before you guys drafted him, and then how has he been in the first couple of days out here?
Well, number one, he's long, he's athletic. This game right now, you talk about look at the different receivers and the types that we have for his big body. So I love long corners. He's definitely that, very athletic, can run, and he's very physical, and that's important in the run game with me, that our corners tackle. So again, we don't have pads on right now, but you can see that athleticism out there on the field and the way he moves around.
When you say you love corners to tackle, that was, some people criticized that about him when he was at LSU. Have you talked to him a lot about that?
Not a lot, but he made it aware that, that he's not afraid to tackle. He just needs to understand the technique and how to do it, So that's encouraging, because, again, I always say the identity of our defense is not really how physical our front seven plays, but really how our secondary, most importantly, how the corners tackle.
How, on that, how much emphasis do you put on tackling technique? Because a lot of corners just don't use their arms, they just try and knock the guy down.
I think you have to really, that's a fine. I think you really have to be able to teach the guys the different technique and the fundamentals, understanding exactly where their help is, all right, within that particular play. I know Denzel last year had a situation where we come in and throw his body around a little bit, which resulted into some concussions. So we really got to teach these guys how to tackle.
Do you feel like you're in a race from the standpoint? There are staffs out there that you'll face this year that have been intact for a while on. You're facing experienced offensive coordinating staff. Do you feel like you're in a race because you're in your first year installing here?
No, not at all. Again, I think it's about layers on your defense, layers on the team. Freddie's done a good job of really setting the tone, the expectations, and really implementing the plan, not only with the coaches but the players. So I'm very confident in where we are right now and the direction in which we're going. The players are doing a great job picking up the system and executing.
Steve, specifically on Jermaine again, how is he or how could he fit in schematically with what you'd like to do defensively?
Again, he's a guy that's very smart that can play multiple positions. All right, so you put yourself in a situation when guys get hurt, you know, it's just really plug and play with him. So it's still early to determine. All right, but I like what he's doing. Most importantly, his leadership.
How much would you like to have the option during the season of having three safeties that you trust to put on the field at the same time?
Well, I think the word that you use is trust, and that really goes with any position. But, you know, where the game is today and how they try to spread you out quite a bit, you like to have the option to be able to put those guys on the field, so therefore you're a little bit more athletic in space.
When we first met you, you raved about Jabril Peppers. Obviously, you thought he's versatile and fit really well in your scheme, and he was traded. Does Whitehead give you some of those same traits that you really liked? That you know, a chess piece you could move around that? Is that I guess, was the door opened a little bit that way?
It is, I would say that. When you really look at the position, as the question just before you talked about, you know, offense trying to spread you out, trying to get you into a situation and really trying to create that matchup with the linebacker. So you like to be able to try to put more athletic guys on the field in regards to another safety. So Whitehead does give you that option, but again, it's still early to determine that.
Steve, last year, these guys really looked good on defense. What are your areas of concern maybe this year that you want to tighten up?
I think number one, we got to do a much better job of not tackling. I know that was an issue of concern last year, and I would say this too. This is a pass-happy league, but we got to stop the run. And gap integrity is going to be extremely important to us. I've said it over and over again. There's nothing more demoralizing to a defense than having an offense run the ball down your throat. So we got to do a great job of stopping the run and, most importantly, tackling.